Welcome back, guys, to Lonely Basement Baseball Cards. So, guys, I was just watching a video and I wanted to kind of talk about comps. Greg, so far away from Midlife Cards. Like and subscribe. Was talking about comps and how we comp cards, who comps cards, grading, all these kinds of things. And I just want to I was going to leave a comment, and I said, make a video quick. See how it comes out, see what I got, see what's on my mind, because I had some thoughts. I don't comp cards a lot. I really don't. And I'm going to go back into the history here. So a lot of talk about these, Donnie. Beckett Baseball Card Monthly, and how great it was in the glory days of looking up the prices in here and going to card shows with them. I never owned a Beckett Baseball Card Monthly until I bought this and another one with Donnie on it about a year ago for collectible reasons. We've talked about it a lot. I love my Baseball Cards magazine. And Baseball Cards magazine's price guide is right here in the middle. That's not even a quarter of the magazine. What this is filled with is articles and stories about baseball cards. Which is what I wanted. I didn't need, let's say, that much of my magazine to be a price guide and that little bit to be about baseball cards. I wanted to read about baseball cards, which is why I bought these. And that takes me to comping cards and the price guides. I never took these to a card show and looked at the prices. I'd go to a card show, and some guy'd have this 1981 Rob Wilfong without color on his table, and he'd say, it's $1. And I'd say, that sounds like a good price to me. $1's fair, and I'd pay the $1, or I wouldn't. I still shop to that day. To this day, I still shop that way. I know what cards are worth based on being on YouTube all day long, going to card shows, and I do understand that I go to a lot of shows and I see a lot of cards. So to be clear, I get that. Being on eBay a lot, but I have a general idea of what cards are worth in general. And that's based on experience and practical application of seeing the cards and seeing the prices of cards at a lot of big shows. There's a lot of regional shows that I'm grateful to go to, and you get a sense of what a 58 mantle goes for. If I see a card I want, I'll look at it and I'll say $500. Pops right here. I'll say, how much is it? He'll say 600. I'll say 500. He'll say 600. I'll say 500. He'll say 600. We don't buy the card. I'll say, do 475. He says, yes. Boom, I get the card. It's pretty simple. But it's having a practical knowledge of the prices of cards about what they're worth. If I overpay by a few dollars based on a comp, or underpay by a few dollars based on a comp, I'm fine with that because I want the card. Again, that gets me back to comps. What are comps? These prices are designed by sellers. These prices were done by sellers who filled out a survey of what cards were worth. Maybe a guy like that. So Larry would get a survey, he'd fill it out, and he'd say, this card's worth $5. And this card's worth $10. And maybe Texas Sports Cards would get the same survey and fill it out and say, this card's worth $5, this word's worth $10. That is the sellers setting the price. If you do not think that Kit Young ever talked to Larry Frisch about a card for a Beckett Price Guide survey, I'd be surprised that the 88 Donruss Canseco was never discussed. What are you selling it for? I'm selling it for 60. Oh, I'm selling it for 62. Tell Beckett 60. I'm a cynical person. I look at the industry and the hobby and see all the blah that happens. And to think that dealers in the 80s, who we all know were doing very interesting things, and I'm not to besmirch Texas Sports Cards or Larry Frisch. Rest in peace. These cards were priced by dealers. The dealers in a free market should not set the price. The market should set the price. We set the price, what we're willing to pay. That brings me to today. 130 point, eBay, VCP. These are prices of actual sales, which I don't mind looking at because that is going to tell me what somebody actually paid. But the glory days of looking at this, those prices were set by dealers, guys. They were set by the people that were selling you the cards. So I'm going to set the price in the price guide. I'm going to sell you the card at the price that I set in the price guide. Maybe that's a little cynical. Maybe it wasn't quite that way. But every time I see Beckett on anything, no one ever really digs into, oh, yeah, the dealers would do. But who were the dealers? Were they ever talking together? Were dealers ever colluding about pricing? Because we all know in the 80s, people were doing that kind of stuff all the time. When I go to a big show and I see 558 Manals, and they're all priced in the same, if you've ever been to a card show before 9 a.m., when the card show isn't open, and you watch the dealers walking around talking, you think they're not looking at each other's cards? You think they're not talking about their prices? Because I've been there, and they are. I'm not saying every dealer all over the world is setting prices in collusion, but it's a market. And there's always market forces that are going to set prices. So for me, thinking this way, I go to a card show, I see a card, I have a value that I know the card is worth to me, and I'll pay that much for the card. But I definitely don't trust the market as is. Graded cards are just another way of market manipulation of setting a standard for the dealers to say what the cards are worth, a la the Beckett price guide, in my humble opinion. Cards are worth what they're worth. They're worth what someone's willing to pay for them. But if everybody wants the card and everybody prices the card the same way, that's what they're worth. Now, are they worth that? Is there rarity? Is there scarcity? No. Then why is the card this high? Because that's what all the dealers are charging for it. So, guys, that's just my 2 cents, my cynical 2 cents on card pricing. Pay what you think the card's worth. I think VCP and 130 point, things like that are pretty valuable resource. But quite frankly, I very rarely personally pull out my phone at a card show and look something up. I kind of already know what I'm looking for, and I kind of already know the market value in general. And the cards I'm looking for, let's be honest, if I go to a card show for a 50 Mantle, there's 12 of them in a regional show. I looked at all 12. I know what everybody's charging. I kind of know where I'm looking at. So that's my 2 cents. Don't have to listen to anything I say. Trust me on that. Special how-to issue full of helpful hints. Anybody need any helpful hints as we get sidetracked, as we always do in the basement? I wonder what helpful hints there are. Big money bidding on baseball cards. Is that Mike Petty? Is that Mike Petty with the 82? I don't know. What else is in here? I love this magazine, guys. I used to read this cover to cover over and over again. I wouldn't mind having one of those. That's a cool album. Get my hands on one of those. Here we go with an eBay search for one of those albums now. Ooh, Tom Seaver. Anybody want a plate of Tom Seaver? Starting lineups. Well, that's pretty much what I got, guys. That's enough of a rant for a Monday morning. I just think that trust yourself, trust your knowledge. Don't listen to anybody else. Use your brain. See what things are worth. Don't worry about grades so much. something feels overpriced, it's overpriced. If you really want it and it's overpriced, be my guest and buy it, because you deserve it. I think. Hopefully you deserve it. Selling, satisfaction guaranteed. The ads are amazing, guys. They really are. Well, that's what I got, guys. I'm still looking at my magazine from... Wait a minute. That looks familiar. Is that Brent Richards? Backdrop. $38.95. One of 26 stadiums included. Could that be? I wonder. That's what happens when you look at magazines, guys. Well, you all have a great day. I'm going to keep looking at this for a minute, because that's what we do in the basement. Thanks for watching.